Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Week 12 DraftKings DFS slate. Before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD, and also sign up for the Patreon. The Patreon is here. You get daily write-ups on NBA and weekly write-ups on NFL. Also, you get betting advice as well, values to target, stars to get, punt plays, and then the betting advice is at the bottom, okay? Everything is there for you. Obviously, if you need someone with one-on-one help, I'm here to help you, to guide you in the correct direction so we can get to this money. Now, let's deep dive into this slate we have here for NFL. This is the Sunday slate, and we're going to break down on each and every position the key guys I'm looking at. All right, let's start off with the QB position. Let's start off with Tom Brady. All right. Tom Brady, obviously the highest priced quarterback. We should be going to this well. He has Gronkowski back. I definitely love him this week, but Tom Brady he bounced back from that Washington performance with 23 fantasy points against the Giants. Now he's going up against the Colts, who struggle against the passing. Their passing defense is one of the top 10 worst in the league. And Tom Brady obviously has the weapons and has the assets to do so, to definitely exploit the Colts after a big win against the Buffalo Bills. All right, the Buffalo Bills got taken advantage of in that weather game, and they could not stop the run. For this, Tom Brady, I think they're going to definitely throw the ball. Look at the passing attempts each and every week: 46, 34, 40, 36, 42. Very, very high numbers. The touchdowns are there. And now with the addition of Gronkowski, Antonio Brown is going to be right around the corner. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense can get clicking and going strong into the playoff. 7,600 is a very cheap price for him. I'll definitely be able to go to that well for him. All right. Let's go to our next QB play. It will be Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a mismatch pretty much. You got Lamar Jackson Jr. right here. None of the throwing attempts, like this is what Lamar Jackson was at the first couple of seasons of his career, okay? Didn't graduate with the passing, but now Jalen Hurts is all rushing, all right? 3 touchdowns last week against the Saints. That was a very, very explosive performance out of him. Creating when nothing was there. Very, very impressive. And that's what you see. 69 yards rushing, 3 TDs against New Orleans, 55 yards rushing, 62 yards. These are very key points to help boost fantasy performances. He had 30 points against the Saints, 24 against Vegas. Tampa Bay was 26, 23. Now he's up to this new price, okay, at 7,300. I'm going to be honest, this is a jump. I did like him, but it's something to be warned about, because it was great when we're paying $5,000 to $6,000 for his salary. Now this is a whole new price. He's going to have to bring out a full arsenal. There's going to have to be 2 TDs. It's going to have to be the rushing yards and a rushing TD. So we're going to watch and see about this. I think he's on the like list. Not a love, he's on the like list. But we can definitely go that route because the upside is there. Next player we're going to get into will be Cam Newton. This is a cheap guy we can get into before his price goes all the way up. All right. This is the Carolina Panthers Cam Newton. This is not the New England Patriots Cam Newton. We're getting the offense that he's comfortable with. As you see, the QB rating is high, 120, 116 of the first 2 games. Very efficient, and the rushing is there. They're going to, when they get in that goal line, it's either going to be him or either CMC. But Cam is going to get his red zone touches. That is the key to him in this offense, all right? So they can get things clicking. 26 fantasy points and a full start. That's what you want for $6,000 QB and below. He has the upside to go to 30 very easily. Miami are good on the corners. They are susceptible with the rushing game. Cam Newton can definitely exploit that between him and Christian McCaffrey. I love him at 5,600. All right, we got a lot of value quarterbacks this week. Next one I'm going to talk about will be Jimmy Garoppolo, 5,700. Another cheap quarterback. Whenever I see a quarterback going against the Minnesota Vikings, I'm going to attack it. We did it last week with Aaron Rodgers. We can definitely do it this week with Jimmy Garoppolo, okay? Garoppolo has a ton of high talented receivers. Brendan Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. The assets are there for him to exploit this defense. Minnesota, on the other hand, poor defense, strong receiving core with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, okay, Tyler Conklin, and Dalvin Cook. Though that's enough on both sides of the ball to have a very high scoring matchup in this game. And that's what's been happening lately in these Minnesota games. So when I see Minnesota or Jacksonville or any of these poor defenses, I'm going to take full advantage of it. We're going to go that route. I know I spoke about him last week. He came through with 2 touchdowns. We just needed a little more yards and maybe another TD, but it was that the fact that Jacksonville couldn't keep up. Okay, so they didn't need to throw the ball anymore. Minnesota is an actual threat. There can be a definite back and forth in this game. I like Jimmy Garoppolo at 5,700. Next will be Burrow. All right, we got Joe Burrow against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers were exploited last week by Justin Herbert. Cincinnati has something similar to that with their wide receiver core and a talented young quarterback. Joe Burrow can do very similar things. Pittsburgh is stout, stopping the run. Question marks on the corner positions, especially with a receiving core that's very, very talented with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, okay? And then CJ Uzuma as well. So with a lot of options there for Cincinnati, okay? I definitely like Joe Burrow this week at 6,200 against a 30th ranked pass defense. So he's going to be in the pool as well, and he's 6,200. So I think the key for this week is finding a cheaper quarterback, paying up in other spots. All right, we don't have to go with Tom Brady and Jalen Hurts. There's definitely high value in the lower tier quarterbacks. The next best one is Justin Herbert at 6,600. I just spoke to you about how he exploited that strong Pittsburgh defense for 38 fantasy points. He came through with the rushing yards as well, which he was doing last year. Kind of, tempered that down this season, but 9 attempts for 90 yards. The upside is there. Denver is good, especially at home. But this is definitely a game where he can exploit this defense. The question is, can they keep up with the Chargers offense? It's going to be very, very hard. Denver's defense is stout, but they cannot account for Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler, all right? They got Jordan Palmer, as who's been a very good rookie. There's a lot of question marks. They got Parham, they got Jared Cook. Someone is going to exploit that defense, and I do like Justin Herbert to do so, all right? Let's move over to the running backs positions. Running back position we got this week, start off with Christian McCaffrey. I know Jonathan Taylor was a very good play last week. Very unexpected, but I think things turn around against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. CMC, on the other hand, he is the total offense. All right, look at these attempts and receiving work. Okay, 10 attempts for 59 yards rushing, plus 7 receptions on 8 targets for 60 yards and a TD. He's getting a ton of work the week prior. 10 receptions, 10 targets, plus 13 rushing attempts. All right. He's giving you a floor of 24 and above. Okay. So we can definitely put him in our lineups. And we're hoping for that big, big game, the 30 plus to 40 range. That can happen with Christian McCaffrey. Okay. So we got a little Carolina stack. Let's continue on. The next running back I'm going to look at will be Cordarrelle Patterson. If he is healthy, then we're going to go to this well. There's not a lot of options on the Atlanta Falcons side. Jacksonville is a defense to 100% exploit. And when he is in, he has been very, very consistent. Injured in that Dallas game, New Saints came through with 22 fantasy points the game prior, 18 fantasy points, 14, 18. He's been very, very consistent. He's the extension of the run because they use him in multiple facets, end rounds, everything. Screens. Cordarrelle Patterson is the gadget guy for the Falcons. And Matt Ryan needs that safety net because Calvin Ridley's gone, Julio's gone. Everything has crumbled around him. They need this playmaker to come through. If he's in, we're going to go pay for him at 6,500. Next will be Najee Harris, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is another workhorse, okay? This is Christian McCaffrey Jr., all right? As you're looking at the rushing tips, If you give McCaffrey 20 rushing attempts, this is Najee Harris, all right? Najee Harris is just a cheaper version of Christian McCaffrey, just because of purely usage. All right. The line is horrible. He's not really taking full advantage of all his rushing attempts because he's getting double the amount than Christian McCaffrey and just a little bit less in receiving. But he definitely has the upside to get you 9, 10 catches. Did it already happen before? I believe it already happened before. 14, yes, 14 against the Bengals, but you're looking at 5 to 6 definite targets a game in the receiving work, plus 20 plus rushing attempts. This guy at 8,200 is definitely worth the salary. Let's find you some other guys. Let's take a shot on Saquon Barkley. Okay, Saquon Barkley against Philly. He slowly got worked in last week, but a positive was the receiving work. Not that many rushing attempts, 6 for 25, but he came through with 6 receptions on 6 targets for 31 yards. That is a positive. Now going to the Philly game, obviously must-win situation, division game. Barkley should be stepped up another notch. Okay, I expected it a little light treading against Tampa Bay, but now they're going to ramp things up. And at 6,300, that is too cheap of a price for the upside of Saquon Barkley, where he had 21 fantasy points against the Falcons, 29 against the Saints, and that's a very good defense as well. So I love Saquon Barkley at 6,300. Let's find you some cheaper guys. All right, one guy in particular will be Ty Johnson. All right. Currently, they have an injury to Michael Carter. That now Ty Johnson is the #1 running back. He was always getting work in the receiving game, as you can see the consistency there. 5 against Buffalo, 5 against Cincinnati, 6 against New England. All those receptions, he was getting consistent touchdowns. But the rushing work was middling. All right, now with the absence of Michael Carter, now we'll step up Ty Johnson. He becomes the #1 back. With Zach Wilson back, they can stretch the field. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. And at the cheap price of 4,300, you're getting a #1 running back in a game environment where this is the Houston Texans, all right? We know how bad the Houston Texans are. Of course, they showed up against the Titans. They see them 2 times every year. That's understandable. Now, this is an unfamiliar opponent, the Jets. Ty Johnson has 4.3 speed, and he can definitely exploit this defense. I love him at 4,300. This is your punt play of the week at running back, Ty Johnson. All right, now let's move over to the wide receiver position. The wide receivers I see, obviously, you want to pair the wide receivers that I already spoke about with the quarterbacks. So we already spoke about Hurts, we spoke about Cam, Jimmy G, Burrow, Herbert. We know they're #1 and 2 wide receivers. You definitely want to pair them with those guys. All right. Some of the other guys that we're not going to stack with or that are going to be connections. Oh wow, Kadarius Toney is now doubtful. That was intriguing. Okay, so let's see. Well, let's take a. Someone's gonna step up in his absence. Let's take a quick look at this. All right, we're gonna go to the Giants. Let's see who's in or out. Is Shepard out? Is Shepard out? Is Toney? So you have a situation where their wide receivers are literally Kenny Golladay and Darius Slayton. I think Kenny Golladay can have a huge game. He's going to be one of our top tier wide receivers we're going to put in. He hasn't had a breakout game yet. Now, with the absence of Toney and Shepard, all those short yardage guys, Golladay, they're going to have to write up some routes for Golladay to get open, maybe some curls, maybe some easy slants to get him going. All right, and then use him down the field because that's where he is a big X factor with the deep ball in the catching traffic. Kenny Golladay is going to be someone I want to look at 5,100 that has upside. He's yet to have a touchdown this year. That can quickly change against the Philadelphia Eagles, who Darius Slay is okay corner, but he doesn't have the size to compare with Kenny Golladay. He's definitely going to be in our pool, all right? Next guy we're going to look at will be Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. All right. Both of these guys are in great environments against Minnesota. You saw what the Packers wide receivers did between Valdez Scantling and Adams. That can happen with Deebo Samuel. He's been used in multiple facets. They're using him in the rushing game, 8 attempts and a touchdown, plus a little bit of receiving work. He's a big X factor. Brandon Ayuk has been coming on, finishing the year strong this year. Had a bad first couple weeks, but now seven of seven targets, 85 yards, and a touchdown last week against Jacksonville. Now going up against Minnesota. This is another plus play here at 5,300. There's a lot of value that we're going through right here. Let's see if I can find you anyone that is not connected to a stack. Brandon Cooks is a target getter that we're going to look for in our lineups. He had, was it 13? No, he had 3 targets, only 3 targets. He was limited last week. They still came away with a win, but on average, he's getting a ton of targets from Tyrod Taylor. Now going up against the Jets corners. This is a matchup to exploit. They're going to keep this game close. This is the guy that they're going to use. He has the speed advantage. And you see some of the consistency here against Miami, against the Rams, against Arizona, and especially against Indianapolis Colts for 9 to 13 on 89 yards as well. 58,000, all right? 5,800, excuse me, 5,800. Brandon Cooks is a great flex option to have this week. On the other side, we have someone that's really coming into his own as a rookie, and that's Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore has been the #1 wide receiver for the Jets. Look from week 7 on, all right? He came through with a touchdown rushing. Then Cincinnati had 13 fantasy points. Then against the Colts, he had 27. Then against Buffalo, had another touchdown, and then a breakout performance against Miami. 8 receptions, 11 targets, 141 yards, and a TD. Elijah Moore, I spoke about this earlier in preseason. Like, he's going to be a beast. It just took him some time, and he's really going to finish the year strong, especially with Zach Wilson coming back. I love Elijah Moore at 5,600. And one of the other middling wide receivers that we like this week is going to be, let's see if I can get him. All right. It's going to be Jerry Jeudy for the Denver Broncos. All right. Jerry Jeudy won't be seeing #1 corners from the Chargers side. He should be able to avoid Asante Samuel Jr. and that's going to be going to Cortland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy has been very consistent coming back from his injury. 4 for 39 against Washington, 6 for 69 against Dallas, and 6 for 48. The targets are there. That's what I want. 8 and 9 targets in back-to-back weeks. This is going to be pretty much the #1 wide receiver on the Denver side. I really love Jerry Jeudy at 5,500. Now let's look at the tight ends before we finish out this video that we really like for this weekend. Obviously, Kittle is going to be the highest priced guy at 6,400. I already spoke to you about the Minnesota matchup. It is a prime game to exploit. Definitely a back and forth environment that you want a lot of pieces in. Kyle Pitts is in a nice game at 6,100. You could go double tight end this week because there's a lot of top tier tight ends that are in very good matchups. Atlanta against Jacksonville. Kyle Pitts should fully exploit that defense. Some cheaper guys that we're going to look at for this week will be Dallas Goedert against the Giants. The Giants have a history of struggling against tight ends, and this is one of the big target getters on the Eagles side. At 4,800, he had 5 receptions, 8 targets, 62 yards. This is why they let go of Zach Ertz, because Dallas Goedert is the future. I really like him at that cheap price. Some other guy we're going to look at will be Rob Gronkowski. I think he can be a lock. All right, since coming back, he immediately was one of the favorite targets for Tom Brady, and that's how we're going to finish out this video. Lock in Rob Gronkowski. Came back, 6 receptions, 8 targets, 71 yards. Don't forget what he did at the beginning of the season. 8 for 8, 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. 4 for 39 yards and 2 TDs. Very, very explosive. Like, they didn't miss a beat, all right? This could be Gronkowski's comeback season, obviously. When he's in, you have to play Rob Gronkowski. And at this cheap price, he does not deserve to be this low. 4,400 for Rob Gronkowski is an absolute steal. All right? Let me know in that comment section down below if you have any other player in mind at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight end that I did not speak about that you really, really love. And we can really discuss that. And we probably bump them up in the rankings on Patreon as well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and MessageSD. And I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace out, guys.